on.
Okay.
So are they on right now?
They're on right now.
You're on Candid Camera, Melvin and Roberta Futrell.
Now take the time and date off and
What is the date? Today is what? June what, Dad?
June the 5th.
Well, you smart cookie. And what's the time?
At 20 minutes to 1.
You're cheating.
Well, sometimes I have to look at the watch to tell what time it is.
Okay. Now the date's off. Now, Ron, you're better at interviewing.
you're rolling. Go ahead.
I'm
I'm
rolling.
getting in the shower.
Yes, you're better.
All right.
When did you first meet? This is what we want on our camera. We want to know about your first beginnings.
Okay, if the first time you saw me was
You don't have to tell us everything
probably
now.
the first time I saw you, too. The only thing is,
well, let's see.
Go.
Our first meeting was in Joe's Trailer Court in Glendale, California, 1940.
probably 1947.
1947. And I fell madly in love with him on our first date. And he proposed on our first date.
Well, not everybody fall in love the first time they see each other, but sometimes it takes a little time for it to happen. But I was quite impressed when I saw her the first time in the little store in Joe's Trailer Court in Glendale, California. And of course I was working at the time, and it was one of my first jobs, and I had a lot of things on my mind, and I wasn't thinking necessarily about what the future held for us, but it wasn't long until things began to come into focus, and I began to feel that
Thank you very much.
I'd met the girl that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah, I think that's sweet. It's important too, because not everybody gets to do that, you know.
We went to the beach on our first date, and we proposed. Our first
Soon.
official date.
Soon,
Our
perhaps
first official date.
one of the first dates. At
We
least.
knew each other long before we dated.
Yeah,
Who is that? My neighbor.
and I informed.
Hey.
It was sometime after our. I don't remember what day that our first date was, but it was sometime after that first time that you saw me and I saw you. It was sometime after that we had our first date.
In fact,
perhaps 3 or 4 months.
You would come over to Margaret's and stay with Margaret sometimes and talk to her while I would go out on a date. And then you'd even be there when I would come home.
Yeah.
And,
I wanted to learn more about this person that was interesting at the time. I wanted to learn more about you. Yeah.
and that was rather exciting. And then finally he got up the nerve to ask me for a date. And that was exciting because I really wanted to go out with him. And we dated all the time after that except for one time.
I suppose we dated for a year and a half before we finally were married in 1949. So keep in mind at this time, 1987, that we've actually known each other for 40 years, including the 2 years leading up to our marriage in 1949. During the time before our marriage, we rode motorcycles together. We had all sorts of how can you remember every little thing that long ago? I'll hold it first.
Okay, just a minute.
We rode motorcycles.
Yes.
And we went out on the boats, remember?
Yes.
When Larry and all them was in the Navy.
Deep sea fishing.
Yeah, deep sea fishing. And Big Bear Lake.
We spent a lot of time, yes, Big Bear, and we spent a lot of time on the beach, California.
That was a few of our dates. And
There isn't any particular dates that jump out at us. After all, we spent a lot of time together. We wanted to be together. We had already, the subject of getting married had already been discussed, and we were just waiting to set the date.
And I lived with my sister Margaret and her little boy David, and David is in Hawaii now, but we lived there. I lived there with her. You lived with your mom and dad.
Yeah.
There in Joe's trailer court.
And we refer to Joe's trailer court because that was cheap rent, and
It's in San
first
Fernando
job
Road.
didn't pay much, and we were trying to get started in California. I was trying to get started in California, and that's how strange reasons why people meet, just coincidence.
Do you remember the number on San Fernando Road?
No.
The San Fernando Road in Glendale,
52
California.
something, I think, 5230 or something like that.
It's a car lot
It was on
now.
the other side of the road from the railroad tracks.
But we were
It's
madly
torn
in
down
love.
now. It's gone now. It's history now, as is our dating times are history too. And
We had
sometimes
a wonderful date last night.
last night, well, I mean the times
Seemed,
before they're a little bit. Sometimes some of them are hard to remember, but the whole picture's clear. But to
We saw
remember
Red Skelton.
Red
last
Skelton,
night.
that was last night.
Called him Red Skeleton.
That was
Ron says,
that
"Yeah,
was
he's
38 years
skeleton."
later we saw Red Skelton.
Well, we
Las
had
Vegas.
a wonderful romance. Wonderful.
Yep.
My heart still jumps every time he comes up the road or comes in the driveway.
Even when you're mad, huh? It still jumps.
It still jumps even when
In a different beat, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm still
It
a
flip
very
flops.
lucky girl to have him as a father of my children and as my husband, because he's a very special man, and I'm very lucky that I met him.
Well, I've got to say that I feel the same about you. From the time that I seriously started thinking about us getting married, at that time, I thought of you as a type of person that would be good to raise a family with. I also thought about that. We can't always be right about those things, but in my case, I think I was right about it, and I feel really fortunate to have made that right decision and to have my wife be the kind of person that she's been all of our married life. She's been a good example for the children and a good example for me.
Thank you.
And
Fill it with a kiss.
I love her more now than, of course, than I did during the dating period. It's a different kind. After 38 years, for that matter, 35 years, how can you put a time limit on it? But after that long, it becomes a situation where you become more as one, and without the partner, well, you feel incomplete after spending that much time together. And we have not always agreed. No one's going to sit here and say that we've always agreed. We've had our differences and we've had our disagreements, but each time after each one of the disagreements, even small or large, it seemed like we were stronger afterwards. After the boat was put back on course again,
The deep discussion.
we seemed to be stronger as a result of
I
it.
think it's
So it's how you weather those storms that's important. It's not expecting never to have differences, but how you handle those differences when you have them, and how you survive those differences. That's the important thing. How you survive and handle and live with them, and continue on afterwards, and patch up and get your understandings, understand each other better. You learn more about each other as you travel through the years too.
I think we had this rule of really never going to bed and go to sleep without kissing goodnight. And I think that was important, of not really going to sleep without solving our problems and our differences, and that's important. So, and I'm so glad that he taught me of the religion, Mormon religion. He taught me about it, and of course I joined the church when Gail and Pam was just small. I forget exactly what year, but it was a beautiful experience, and it's been a way of life for me because my mother taught me about from the Bible, and so it was just automatic when I was taught by him and by the missionaries about the church that I would naturally accept right away. I didn't have any big decisions to make, and from then on it was we brought our children up in our faith, and that's one of the most rewarding and exciting experiences that we've had, to always have that testimony that we know the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a true church, and that's very important for our children and our grandchildren to always remember that we know it and that we lived it.
And be able to understand your love for one another to go along with that. You have to have a strong, deep feeling of caring for the other one's feelings in order to, and this is my opinion at least, and I think that any two people should develop a sense of compassion for one another, not just to say you love somebody, but to be able to show that you love somebody by love this person by the things you do in your day-to-day life.
One of our strongest things is we'd love to have our children, our 6 children, to love each other and be able to associate with each other and always be friends. And that's including all of our family together, but our children especially to be as friends. We've talked
We wanted each one of our 6 children. We were just thrilled. Each one of them was a separate big occasion in our life. And as we look back now at the group, they're all adults. We're still glad that we had our 6 children, because we like to see them, as Roberta has said, we like to see them remain friends with each other. We don't want them to have a lonely feeling for a relationship with members of the family. We want them to feel they are one in a unit themselves. Go ahead.
Our love for each other has been a beautiful thing, and we're very glad that we're at the age that we are, that we're retired and we're going to be going all over the place, just having fun. And I've got you back as one. And I've shared you with 6 children, and now they're all married, have their own family. Now I've got him back as one. And we're right back where we started from almost 40 years ago.
I have returned, yeah.
You have returned.
No,
and,
there's been a lot of distractions along the way. Needless to say, raising a fairly large family, not the largest, but larger than the average. We feel happy about the job we've done. We haven't heard any real complaints, and we feel satisfied. As we look at our children now, we feel proud of all of them in the things that they've accomplished, their character, their personalities.
And the mates they chose.
Yes, and the mates they chose. We feel real fortunate to have the in-laws that we have that have come into our family. They've chosen to marry as their companions. We feel real fortunate for these folks. They're all good people. We're proud of them.
And our grandchildren.
Yes. Our grandchildren, yes, they come automatically, don't they? When we have children and they get married, that makes grandparents out of you, don't it?
Right.
That's
So
part of it.
we're very
And they're coming right along now. And
summarizing our love.
Go ahead.
You go ahead and summarize our love of.
Well, I just think that we have an awful lot to do together yet to get sort of reacquainted with each other. The term is that's the best term I can think to use after this long period of time of my going to work and or my wife changing diapers and fixing dinner and being there when the kids come home from school. Now we're past that. We're into another phase, and I just think that there's even ways now that we will learn that we really did make the right decision when we chose to get married 38 years ago. It seems like a long time sometimes, other times it just seems like yesterday.
It does seem like just yesterday to me.
And I'm just thrilled about the possibilities of our future. And
we're still madly in love.
We're still madly in love.
No.
That's what I was trying to say. But I was thinking that there should be something else said. What can you say? How can you put the right kind of value on that length of time? I'm just thankful and proud that my wife chose to share this much of her life with me.
I'm proud you chose to spend that much time with me too.
That's right.
That's about it.
That's
and
it.
we have 6 wonderful children. All of our grandchildren and daughters